All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the January 17th, 2024 meeting of the Auburn School Committee, excuse me. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A for the purpose of employment of officials, appointees, and employees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Pam, Corin, second. All those in favor? We will adjourn to executive session. forgot to do it at the start. We'll go around and do introductions, starting down here with Dan.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Corin McGuigan, Ward 1.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Pamela Albert, at large.
Connie Brown, Superintendent.
Pat Gaudier, Ward 3.
Casey Knight, at large.
Adam Platts, representative of the City Council.
Jillian Dumas, Junior Representative.
Mark Conrad, Business Manager.
Sue Doris, Assistant Superintendent.
All right, thank you, everyone. I will entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda, which includes the approval of tonight's agenda, the approval of the minutes of January 3rd, 2024 meeting, and the approval of Natalie Masters, teacher MLL at Park Avenue, and Amanda Couture as business administrator. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Pat, second Corin. All those in favor? Motion passes. Congratulations, Amanda. All right, I don't think we have anyone here for public participation tonight, so I'm going to move on to our presentation for the EL High School Substance Misuse Counselor, Chaz Gokas from Day One Services. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce Chaz. Chaz is from Day One. He's been working with us for about a month. He's on the second floor, and he's with us on Mondays and Tuesdays and has already hit the ground running. So that's my introduction, and so I'll turn it over to Chaz, and welcome aboard.
Thank you. I just typed up some bullet points, basically, and if anyone wants a copy, I have copies, but basically, I'm a licensed alcohol drug counselor. I started November 13th of 2023. I'm at Edward Little on Mondays and Tuesdays. The total days I've been there, about 15 school days. Holidays and storms have affected that. So I've had 6 referrals so far. I've started meeting with 4 of those students. The other 2 I think I have unable to follow up with is basically students don't reply to emails all the time. And if I was able to find a way to get an introduction so they could put a face to the name, that would help. So 3 of the referrals expressed interest meeting with me, and all 3 want to continue. 1 student was required, and that 1 student has been consistent. So the substances that have been reported to me, mainly vapes and THC. Some alcohol use has been reported, but no student has said that's a substance of choice, mainly the vapes and THC. So what I do, I basically incorporate motivational interviewing, and I'm very big on presenting educational information about high and low risk choices regarding substances, in the hope students will make informed decisions about the use and how it will impact their lives and values. This is in hopes that it will prevent future issues for them. So educationally, I review biological risk factors, the progression of addiction and what that looks like. 2 curriculums that I heavily draw from. One's called Prime for Life, and I can provide details about that anytime. I can do that individually or as in a group, but that's where a lot of my educational material comes from. Another one that is for nicotine intervention is called In Depth. So I'm a trained facilitator in that as well. And that has a lot of information regarding vapes that I feel like students are not aware of. The biggest thing I think with vapes is they are not aware of how addictive it can be very quickly. So that's what I have here.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do. How do you get the reference, like the referrals?
So right now, I feel like we're in the beginning process of that, and it's kind of figuring that out. Right now, basically, mostly guidance has sent me referrals, and that's been like the big source so far. But I believe the more I'm there, the more referrals I get, the more, my name gets out there that it will pick up. So,
Casey, do you have a question?
What are you doing to make yourself known to students that you're there and available?
well, like I said, I'm there Monday, Tuesday, and I haven't gotten out a lot myself. Like I said, I think I've been there a little over a week so far, but just getting my name out there, like I said, after a first introduction, I can really make a connection myself. And I've come to find this year I've started in schools, and I found like any type of like group or anything like that is gonna probably not be likely in a school setting. So.
Corin, did you have?
How are you, Scott, helping him to get known throughout the community of Yale?
Yeah, our first step had been working to set up the referral process and really trying to get that established. I don't think he's given himself enough credit in terms of being visible and being out. But having him on board and having the programming on board now creates an integral part of those conversations that we have with students and families. So rather than be in a situation where we have a student who we believe has a substance misuse issue, now we can start bringing in and saying we have programming on site, and that is part, like I said, the conversation with the kid or the family, and that's happening with administrators as well as guidance. And so we kind of share that piece, and then we turn it to guidance to create that connection to Chaz. And like I said, I don't think he's given himself enough credit of being visible and present. And so that's where we are in this phase. And as capacity builds and momentum builds, then it becomes more public and aware through the building. But right now, we're just trying to get through and establish those connections with the referrals.
Anyone? Oh, Pat?
I'm just thinking as being that, I know there's a 9th grade class that they do with this kind of thing in their health. Isn't that where they do it? I wonder if there would be some connection with those particular teachers that might be able to help you get to know the kids.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, what Chaz does is very specific and unique. I think when he's talking about programming, there is that opportunity with health. But those units are so fast, and there's not an opportunity for a lot of depth with them. So, Mr. Gibson goes pretty rapidly. He's got like through and that much time, so it goes pretty intensely and rapidly. Our hope had always been that once the capacity is built and there's more time availability, that could be very much part of it. Mr. Gibson was super pleased to have someone on board. Felt like he was holding the sea at bay all by himself with trying to have those discussions, and to know that there's another person in the building to access, I think, is a big plus for everybody.
I had a question about like capacity, and so it sounds like you've got 6. I think you said 6 referrals so far. You're there 2 days a week. What kind of capacity would you say you have over those 2 days if you were going full bore and all of your referrals, are continuing to show up?
There's always a clinical judgment when it goes into that decision. So some students, 4 or 5 meetings, like a brief intervention. Other students, it can longer period of time, but like within 2 days, I could, based on all that, I'd say up to 10 or 15 on a regular basis, barring I can figure out the schedule, because I've also learned scheduling in school is pretty tight.
That was going to be my question about scheduling, is when are you meeting with the students? Is it during
Workshop.
lunch, or so that they're not missing class time?
Yeah, workshops. Yep.
So you're contracted for 2 days? Is that what it is? If the need is more, will that address?
Well, that would be a discussion beyond me with my administration.
I just wondered if you uncover, a really something unexpected, you must work somewhere else the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm at Edward Little in Wyndham High School. Yep.
Anyone else have any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. School committee student representative report. Jillian, no report tonight? Okay. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. The first item is an FYI, and it is our council presentation date has been set for April 1st. Is that right? Someone had to say it. Thank you, Mrs. Hart. So that's a Monday night, and we will be presenting our budget. The city manager and I will work out what exactly that will look like. It's changed a little bit over the years. On the last couple of meetings, or at least the 4 times that I've been here, it's been more of a dialogue with the city council, and I've provided talking points to the school committee. I don't know if that will be the format this year, so stay tuned on that. And as a reminder, I hope that you have reserved every Wednesday in March and the first or the last Wednesday in February for our budget discussions. So you might want to look at the calendar, because the first meeting, which is the 28th of February, and just as an FYI for the committee and the community, that's the 4th Wednesday of the month. And the reason it's the 4th and not the 3rd is because the 3rd falls on school vacation. And historically, the school committee has not met during school vacation week. So for February, it will be the 4th Wednesday. It will be the beginning of the budget presentations. We do what I still call Article 1, but never get around to calling it Cost Center 1. But essentially, that's all the schools. And you will have a budget book, and Mark and I will bring those to you that evening. In the budget book, probably what I consider the most important document will be the budget memo. That's something that we started 4 years ago at the request or at the behest of the council representative, Brian Carrier, and it has proven to be a very good tool for explaining the budget. And what the budget memo does is it goes through each of the articles or the cost centers. It tells you what the big changes are. It'll tell you what our revenue picture looks like, and which, by the way, we expect our 279, which is what the state sends us to connote our revenue numbers, by the end of January. So I talked to Mr. Conrad today, and we're starting to finish up the presentations with individual schools, and we hope to have that document by the end of the month, and then we really put the final touches on the budget and get it ready, and then we'll get it to you the last Wednesday in February. So that's the presentation. If you have any questions, there's a budget calendar that's on the website, and it's updated so you can get a sense of what is coming before you on each of those Wednesdays. And when your deliberations are, we will continue with some of the things that we've done in the past that have proven to be pretty good. One is all of your questions at budget meetings are recorded, and they're posted on the web along with the answers. If we know the answers that night, we'll tell you, and if we don't, we'll come back to the next meeting with those answers. But that's another piece of transparency, so if the public doesn't happen to be watching, they can see what questions that you posed for the budget and its development. I've offered, as I have in the past, to go to each of the schools, and I do that as a budget presentation that's voluntary, so I've been to all of them over the years. So we will continue with that. That's something that generally starts in March. And then the CIP plan, Mark, is also in March, right? So that the capital improvement plan is what we submit to the council for our major capital improvement needs. And that is running concomitantly with the facilities report. So there's some urgency to get some things discussed and figured out, because there are deadlines pursuant to the charter that those CIP costs have to be included. So I know some of you are sitting on the facilities committee, so there is some urgency in getting some of those numbers together pretty quickly. And then if there are no questions about budget at this point, and just as part of the state of the schools, you heard a lot of numbers and a lot of charts and graphs, and I really want you to know that behind those numbers is a task force of about 600 people who are giving their heart and soul to the Auburn School Department. We don't move those numbers without a lot of effort and everybody pulling in or pushing in the right direction. It starts with you as the school committee to the administration, and it gets to the staff. And we have that as our singular focus, is student achievement and helping those kids succeed. So I think the staff deserve a great deal of credit. And I know some of the principals mentioned it, maybe all of them as part of their reports. But I do want to say that, and I've said this to them, they're going to blush, that without effective leadership in the buildings, you wouldn't see those kind of numbers. So the principal, again, is the heart and soul of their school. They are rock stars, and they have put up some impressive numbers. So you have a great team here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the school committee chairperson's report. I do have an update on the superintendent search. We have added 3 new members to our search committee, 1 administrator each from EL, AMS, and 1 representing the elementary schools, who was selected by the elementary administrators to represent them. Also, letters to both the community and staff, both of which are linked on your agenda tonight, were sent out last Friday via email, robocall, and bulk postcard mailer to all postal patrons in Auburn, which I received mine today, so hopefully all of you will too. And I want to thank Mark and his staff and for helping figure out the bulk mailer thing. That was not an easy task. So that bulk mailer and the robocall notifying the community that there's a community survey currently open regarding expertise and strengths that the community would like to see in our next superintendent. That survey is open until January 26th, so I encourage everyone to go take that. It is linked on the Auburn School Department website as well as on the Facebook page. The letters also ask anyone in the community and staff who would like to participate on the superintendent search committee to write a letter indicating their interest and ability to attend the 3 required dates that are listed in those letters that went out last week, and send their letter of interest to me via email by Friday, January 26th. The letters will then be reviewed by the search committee with identifying information redacted so that up to 3 community and up to 3 staff members can be selected in an unbiased manner. Those individuals will be contacted no later than January 30th. The full search committee will then go through a couple of trainings with MSMA, review the applicants, and participate in the first round of interviews on Saturday, March 2nd. And the second round of interviews with the full school committee will take place on Saturday, March 16th. So please mark your calendars for that date. And I think that is all I have right now. If you're interested in the community letters, if you did not receive them for some reason, they are linked on the agenda as well as on the school department website. And I think that is all I have for school committee chairperson's report. Do we have a city council update tonight? Okay. We have committee reports. We have just the finance subcommittee agenda and minutes that are linked. All of you have now received your subcommittee assignments, and we have no old business, no new business, so all of our upcoming meetings are listed. The only meeting that is not listed that we should add is our February 7th Facilities Committee meeting, which is at 3:30 to 5 p.m. That'll be our first organizational meeting. Any future agenda items and requests for information? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Pam, second. Corin, all those in favor? Thank you, everyone.